Good evening. This meeting will come to order. This is the Laverne Board of Zoning Appeals. It is July 28th, 2020, the regular meeting at 5:30. I call the meeting to order. We obviously have a quorum here, and the first order of business is to approve the minutes from the June 30th meeting. Has all the board members had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Make a motion to. Second.
Second.
Well, we have two motions to approve the minutes and 2 seconds. We'll take a vote. All those approved, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The minutes are approved as presented. We have one order of new business. It's a request for sign variance, property located at 522 Walden Road, tax map 170, group 8, parcel 12, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, property owned by Volunteer Cat 2 Partners. Bo, may we have your report, please?
Yes, sir, thanks. So this request is for a sign package. This is a new twice daily store that's under construction at Interstate 24 and Waldron Road. The address of the lot is 522 Waldron Road. And you can see there in the imagery, this is the old Crystal site. And you can see where the restaurant was, and I believe these are just some semis that were parked there on the day this was taken. And so this is right at the corner of I-24 and Waldron, and they did get approved in February this year to build this new facility. You can see it is zone C2, which is the red color. That's all around on both sides of it. Here's some photos when it looked, what it looked like with the Crystal restaurant. And that's where the drive-through was. And then this is the interstate side. The Crystal, of course, it will look totally different with the new gas station and retail store. So last month, the applicant was here, and they were requesting a total of 5 signs. They've taken one of those signs off, and now they're requesting 4 signs. And you can see here, the initial submittal had a pergola sign, and that pergola sign has now been deleted off of the plans. So your packet just has this elevation to the left. And so they're allowed 1 sign, which is going to be this blue sign here, and they're allowed that sign under the regular ordinance. And that sign is 51 square feet. Sign number 2 that they're requesting is 27.7 square feet. Then on the north facade, the 3rd sign would be 14.2 square feet, and then the 4th sign is about 10 square feet. So the total of the 4 together equals about 103 square feet. And I know, I think in the report there was 92 feet, but actually those 4 together are 103 square feet. So that'll give you an idea of what they're requesting. Of course, they are selling the White Bison coffee, and that's the reasoning for the request for these extra signs. Quite a bit of that is for the coffee part of the business that they're going to be building there. There has been a BOZA sign posted for now 7.5 weeks, and staff has not received any phone calls. And that completes the report. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a representative here tonight? Good. Would you step forward, please? Welcome back.
Nice to see you again.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, sir.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I certainly do.
State your name and address for the record, please.
George Dean, 106 Hanover Square, Nashville. I'm an attorney from Nashville. Twice daily asked me to come down and make the presentation to the board. As the board members will recall, I was here last time. We've deleted a couple of the signs from the application, and I know I said it last time. I'll just very briefly say it again. And Mr. Logan mentioned it. We kind of feel like we've got 2 kind of entities on the property, the White Bison and the Twice Daily. That's one of the reasons that we've asked for the additional signage to make it clear to folks that the White Bison is available at this location. The other thing I'll mention again, and I think most everyone was here last time, they've had some difficulty at other locations of Twice Daily, and there's a particular comments last time about the kind of the two signs on facing front, but they have some difficulty with people who may be gassing up, not realizing how to get in to the drive-through and actually go through and pick up the coffee. That's the reason for the extra sign there on the front of the building. I'd be glad to answer any questions. We've tried to cut it back, and I know that there were comments made about the two signs on the front. I don't, they're streaming through there, but one of the things we tried to do was just give you some photos to see at other locations what it would look like, and in that way, hopefully make it a little bit easier to understand our request. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to respond. It's just one of those things where having both the White Bison and the Twice Daily on the property sometimes makes it a little bit confusing for some of the customers who come in and they're not quite sure where they need to go, particularly if they've been in the near the fuel pumps and are trying to move over to the drive-through as well.
Okay. I was on the property this past weekend.
Yes, sir.
Walked all around it and took a look. I'm going to ask Mr. Graham to take the lead to resume his questioning, but I just have one observation. And the observation that I made is this particular picture here.
Yes, sir.
And for the board members, this is the one that I'm looking at right here. You notice this is the one that has the two signs in the front. The question that I have is, why is the sign at that location for the drive-around when the drive-around road is about 15 feet away from there? You know, so no one, if someone comes there for the drive-around sign right there, that's not the drive-around road. The road is over here.
Well, and I have to confess that I'm not as familiar with the property, but I had assumed that the drive-through sign was the one that would catch their attention and let them know that the drive-through was there, located around that side of the building. Am I answering your question?
Well, it would make, I'm going to leave it up to Mr. Graham, but it makes more sense to me if that sign was posted where the driveway actually is.
I see, off of the building.
Off the building, yeah.
Okay.
That's just my observation. I'm
Okay,
going to
well-
leave the lead questioning to Mr. Graham.
I mean, obviously, if you're going to have a drive-through, you're going to come around the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm agreeing with the chairman there. That I appreciate, let me back up. I appreciate you working with us and removing the one. Obviously, there's a lot of signs you have to remove the one. We appreciate that. But again, I agree with the chairman. I don't believe that's in the right place. I'm not disagreeing, with this amount of signage, but that could be misleading too, and not do your customers or clientele much good.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, being on a pole sign where the drive-through is would make more sense. This makes it a little bit confusing, and I would say that some of your clientele will be coming off the interstate that don't know Laverne and not a regular drinkers of this would come in there, and if they're going towards it says drive-through, and that's not where it is. It could be very confusing.
I can understand what you're saying, and a certain amount of this, I suppose, is it's a common design for the stores, and so that's probably why it was done this way. Maybe I could discuss it with my client and see if there's a way that they could kind of respond to that and put the sign at a location.
There's actually two parking places right where that sign is.
Mm-hmm.
See, for us, when we approve or disapprove, when we do approve certain projects, this gets to staff, and then staff, when they come out to look at where things are going to be, that's
Sure.
what they utilise.
Right.
Your print does say, which is concerning to me, it says it's not to scale.
Okay.
So, that could be an interpretation of where you put things then.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we're dealing more precise of where things go, and I do think with the good job they did with the building, I sit on the planning commission, I saw what they did with the building, it was very precise and accurate, so then when it got approved, they know what to do, and when staff comes out to look at that, they know what they're looking at. With this, it's been a little bit misleading.
Okay.
And so it's not clear, and I'm just disappointed that it's not accurate.
Okay. Well, certainly, we're not trying to mislead anybody, that's for sure. I mean, to the extent that it's not drawn to scale, I'm sure it was kind of a problem trying to put it in the right way so it would be presentable to the board, but I certainly understand what you're saying.
Okay. But certainly, as removing the other sign and getting it in the right location, then I'm more favourable of what you're looking for. But I think to be accurate, I mean, obviously they're still working the building. You're not at a final completion. I mean, you're obviously working towards it, but I mean,
Right.
we want to get it right, and I think so do you, and so does
Yes,
your
sir.
client. So does your client. So that's my comments.
Yeah.
Do you have any other comments that you would like
I
to make?
do not think so, no.
You may be seated. Any other board members have questions?
So we're in the same position again of you know, the way it's presented, I don't feel it's correct. I know they can correct it. I know it's another month, but it's procedural.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, from a technical standpoint, you know, if the client would defer and get the questions answered that we did, or get it put down on paper and present it again, I think we can move forward. But for tonight, you know, we must either vote on it or you defer it.
There was some traffic out front. I got here late myself. I don't know whether anybody here. They may not be. Oh, there, I'm sorry. Well, the question we got back is it possible to go ahead and approve the other two? Let us come back with take the drive-through sign off and come back with a different location for that, and have you look at that the following month.
I mean, they get technicalities of you know, splitting the hairs there as far as I'm concerned, but I mean, you know, I would prefer this board to vote on a document that is true and accurate and where it's going to be. And not deferring what you're asking, but
Yes, sir.
you know, I would prefer, let's get it right and be right and move forward next month. That'd be my comment.
One of the reasons we're sensitive about that is that both this board and the planning commission in the past have had issues because the paperwork wasn't exact before and ran into problems, legal issues with that. So that's why when you bring the paperwork in, it should be exactly the way it's supposed to be. And then there's no questions on it.
Well, let me say, from my standpoint, I guess, I don't want the board to vote it down. If the board's more comfortable with the deferral, then we'd agree to the deferral. I mean,
Okay. And I appreciate you working with us, but I'm sure you can understand what we're trying. We're working with you,
Yeah.
and you're working with us. We just want to get to the finish line appropriately and correctly.
See, that's why we mentioned last month that we would want to have the exact documentation the way it's exactly supposed to be. And that's what we said last month, too.
Right.
So there must have been a miscommunication, so.
Perhaps my fault not following up properly, so I'll make sure to do that this time.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So you're requesting to have it be deferred?
I think that's the best bet at this point, yes, sir.
Okay. Do I hear a motion be made that we deferred upon the request of the applicant?
I'll make that motion, yes.
I'll second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? It's deferred 1 month.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the only business we had for tonight. There being no further business, we stand adjourned.